Hello everybody, this is Michael Deal from the Call 148 class. How are you doing? Well, I couldn't hear you, so I hope you didn't answer. On to business. I am here to demonstrate the FreeConferencing.com dashboard. The first thing I'd like to bring up here, bring your attention to, is the live conference option. This right here is what actually controls what you're going to get to do. You can turn it on, and this turns on the console. Now what happens is that anybody can, with the actual number, can call in and with the access code dial into this conference. The number is displayed up in the top left for your dial in, and the number is displayed for the access code for all the subscribers, participants, and this is what they'll use. The number that Denise should call in on will be the host code, and it's displayed right here. Depending on whether it is actually you, Denise, or you, Amy, controlling it, be able to pass this code to Denise, as well as myself. I'll be able to pass this host code to Denise, and it has a minor function in the entire dashboard, though it is useful as well. The next thing I'd like to bring to your attention, which is kind of critical since this conference may not be participated with 100%, and those that can't get into it or are not able to make it to the conference, they can review this later, provided that you actually record it. And to do that, as you had seen, I just simply go to the recording option and select on. Anybody that's in the conference will get a chime and it'll say recording, or this conference is recording. Something along those lines. If you see up here, you see the moderator console 300. It has the caller name being Michael Deal. That's because it is actually able to pull my information. It says when the call began, the current duration of this entire call, and the role that you're in. If you actually highlight it, you notice it says host console. And it has an I. Excuse me. And it has I because we're actually looking at it and controlling the console. Other callers will call and it will show their ID number if they can, or it'll show the phone number. If there is an ID name that comes with it, it'll display it here. Some of them don't. It will show when they actually dialed in and the duration that they've been in the conference, and it'll show a little telephone over here for the fact that they've actually phoned into the conference to participate. At any time during the conference, you can mute or put anybody on hold with these two columns right here. On the actual row that the user calls on, you'll see two checkboxes underneath here for when there actually is somebody phoned into the conference. And you can check that to put them on hold and check it to put them on mute. Mute just makes it to where they can speak, but nobody in the conference can hear them. They are absolutely completely muted. They cannot speak into the conference. They can talk and chat and everything else, but nobody else will hear them. This is a good thing because we have 8 people in the team, and if 8 people show up and those 8 people have family behind them, there's going to be some extra background noise. It can be distracting to everybody else and the whole conference, the overall conference. You can also put people on hold if they're being too distracting, or if they need to be separated from the group for a while, or some other reason. Maybe we'll actually come up with a good reason for the hold option. At this point, I don't see a great one, but at least it's there. QA, I still haven't figured out really what it is. And at this point, I haven't seen a function for it, so it's negligible at the moment. Over here on to the left, you see the more switch options. There's the hold option. This puts everybody in the entire conference on hold. I don't see a good use for this for our team, so it's not a function that we will use. It's just there. Maybe we'll come up with an idea for it later on, but at that point, that's when we can use it. For now, don't even bother with it. Conference lock, I've not seen any use out of it yet, and I've tried, but I haven't had anything happen yet. And then down here with the mute modes, this is where it gets a little interesting. When you actually select mute, everybody automatically goes to mute. And to speak, the person would actually press *6 on their dial pad. This will allow them to speak into the conversation without having the dashboard controller doing it for them. The dashboard controller can mute them again, can unmute them, and so on and so forth. But this option allows the callers to unmute themselves to pass on their ideas. After they're done speaking or they're finished with their part of the conversation, they can you mute it right back with the dashboard console, as well as other hotkeys. I'll be able to provide those later on. There's an actual FAQ on it. The lecture option is also available. If there are too many people trying to partake in the conversation at one time, dashboard controller can switch it over to lecture, and the host code dollar will show up as a host. That person will be the only one able to continue speaking without being muted automatically by this option. This makes it so that way the dashboard controller can kill everybody except the lecturer, in this case Denise, who will then direct the conversation into the way that it needs to be. And that's just to keep organization. It's not it's not there just to drive everybody insane or anything. I'm not saying anybody's going to, but these are just, I don't know, I guess I'm a pessimist. I see bad things in everything. But these options are there, they're useful, it's great. Now, back onto the recording thing. After everything's finished up and everybody's ready to go and take off, the conference is over, everybody's winding down. If the conference, you guys are just wanting to chit-chat and everything else, you can turn the recording off. If that's all there is to the conference, it can be left on. I'll just leave that to Amy or you, Denise, to decide when it comes to that time. Maybe some of the guys want to kind of, get to know each other a little bit better. It's a lot easier over the phone to do that. It really is. But whoever is actually controlling the session will have to stay in or stay up. Keep the conference up and running while those guys are doing that chatting. And the dashboard operator doesn't necessarily actually have to be phoned into the conference anymore. They can just leave this dashboard up on their computer. They can see activity. And if the activity ends and it becomes inactive for about 5 minutes or so, as you've been seeing little pop-ups here and there, it'll try and kill the conference automatically. So all the dashboard operator has to do is leave it up or locked. You can always lock out your computer depending on whether you're at work or not. I don't even know if you'd actually be able to do this at work. I don't know if it'd be ethically feasible for you to do it at work. But if you did it at work, you could lock it. Now, here in History and Recordings tab, up here on the top, after the conference is over and closed out, you can come over here, and this right here, what you're seeing, this is just a little jump ahead. Let me back out. This is what you're going to see. You're going to see these lines right here. You're going to see these showing up. And these are the recordings from the conferences that I've already ran and tested. Excuse me again. I'm sorry, it's almost midnight for me here. Okay, and that's just because I've been playing with this. You see all these different recordings I've been playing with and everything, and whoever's running the console can actually go back through and they can review the whole recording by selecting the little box right here. It says playback or download recorded conference. Select it, brings you to the player that you seen at first when I came over to the conference and recordings. As you see something going on in this one, it shows you that there was a host, moderator console, caller name. There's no speaker history. We'll go back out. Let me show you one of the ones that does have some speaker history in it. This one is when I actually, this is the one that I actually had a conversation with Denise about it when I first got in, and we were having a test session with it, and it's very effective. You see here a very condensed version of what's going on in here. You see that there's a participant at this number, happens to be Denise. There's my number, very condensed, but a very long number. Let me tell you, it is huge. these two right here, you can also see when they were speaking. And this is a really cool thing. As you see, there are breaks in it where she wasn't speaking, then it comes back up to where she was. There's some long ones, short ones, long ones, short ones, so on and so forth. Now mine right here, this blue one, is a great demonstration of what I was talking about. There's a lot of background noise because during mine and Denise's conversation, my wife was having a conversation with her family over our internet connection in her laptop. And that noise kind of carried over into the conference. Now with that mute option, I played it with it right in here. It actually cuts out the entire thing. So it's a very effective tool. We should use that as much as possible when it comes to the conference, because my noise was generated over the entire conference session, and when you have 8 people doing that, it may be very distracting to the group as a whole and keeping track on what needs to be spoken about and what's actually being spoken about. Now, to actually get this out to all the other users, because this is on the dashboard, whoever was controlling it, this is the only person who can actually get into this, unless you feel like giving out your username and password, which isn't effective at all anyway. To get this out to everybody, down here you see the option of download recording. You can select that. And what will happen is that your browser will prompt you to download it, a program that does it for me, and save it, and it goes down, da 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 da. Go ahead and kill that, drop it over. Come over to the recording list. Here we go. See, I got a few recordings in here. And they download as MP3s. See, there's my conversation with Denise right there. It's in an MP3 format, and this can be emailed out to everybody. I'm going to be sending this off to Denise and Amy, so that way they can get a feel for this whole thing. And it's just overall this dashboard is interesting. Whether it ends up being Amy and Denise being the only ones using it, or if we actually have everybody else and we just have somebody else each week controlling it, or we're demonstrating this to anybody else outside of call 148. This is a great overview of everything in this entire program and software features. That concludes everything I have to actually share about this, other than the fact that I would suggest that if you're actually getting into this, go through the other tabs at the top. You get the Preferences, Help Page, Contact. That's my account. The good thing about the Help page is that you got the Fact tabs, Trouble Ticket. You can actually submit that. User Guide, Web-based commands, and Touchtone commands. These are the commands that you can actually enter in the phone, and it's an excellent reference. Since the one I was talking about getting out to everybody later on. Other than that, I have absolutely nothing else to add on to this, and I conclude my demonstration with the FreeConferencing.com dashboard. Hopefully this has helped all of you get an initial feel for this, and I hope everybody has a good day.